Everybody, how are you doing? Let's get this adjusted. I really wish there was a decent preview that YouTube allowed us to do. Not terrible. Not terrible. Hey, look, I'm going live on my notifications on my phone. Who was watching 6 hours of what do you call it, Watkins Glen today? I watched a bit. It's not that far away from me. I had been a couple times, and yeah, I didn't really feel like going this year. But it's hot as hell there today. It's really, really humid here in general. Let's move this back just a bit, shall we? Get a little more bang for our wide dangle buck. There we go. Haven't been making much progress on the garden. It's been hot, and I've been working an awful lot for. There's been a lot of baseball the last week and a half. It was like a 6-game homestand, so yeah, it's definitely been a lot of extra work. So at the 6 hour, you may have seen this car. Yes, I know it's the ADAC Masters technically the livery, but this basically this car is racing at the Glen today. Yeah, LEB have it in stock. Go check that out. How's everybody doing, folks? We're not going to run this car today. We've already run those Mercedes. We'll run those again some other time. We are going to run this little nugget, this little lovely, the slotted Chaparral, the 2F. A fairly basic amount of detail on this car. The real car, this is a nice representation of the real car. The real car was a fairly plain, I guess you'd say, kind of a look to it. Slotted have done a really nice job with the detailing on this car, and my wing is not seated there. Or is it? No, it is not. One part of the wing is definitely a little further down than the other. That kind of stinks. I want to break it. Anyway, what? Quick question topic. Do you like the old Ren 152 stuff? I have no idea what you're talking about. Sorry. Don't know what you're talking about. So Slotted Chaparral. There's been a lot of people waiting for this car, and Slotted have done a really nice job on this car, and we're going to take this car on a little drive today. So here we have basic Sidewinder setup. All the classics that Slotted do, all have this basic Sidewinder setup. All the Group C have an inline setup. All of the DTM, I'm pretty sure that is a. I don't have one here actually. No, I don't. So each of the different series follow a different setup, and all of the classic cars, like the GT40, the Chaparral, the Matra, basically everything that's a classic sports prototype kind of a car is going to have this. So you're going to have at least chassis parity, maybe not exactly performance parity. That's up to you to do. So in any case, we've taken this car apart. I've already taken the liberty of taking out that damnable magnet. Oh, he's starting already. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I had to do a little bit of shortening on the braids. One of the braids, someone actually mentioned this to me the other day that maybe it's someone in chat here, that they thought that their car had been run. The braid that I had on this car on the front, actually one of the braids looked like it had been run. I'm sure this car hasn't been run. There's no proof of any of that. It was anyway. It clearly the car hadn't been run. I think the braid might have just been who knows, fallen on the floor in China when they were putting the thing together. I don't know. I don't really care. In any case, yeah. So there's not a lot of surprises on the chassis here. I like that about Slotted, that they kind of follow a design aesthetic, and it all kind of stays. uh, that is preferable to constant change with things. Yes, you can make this car digital if you're a digital Carrera digital person, and if you are, go right ahead and do it. Um, they have a little bracket that the car comes with that you can use to make it digital. I'm going to put the body screws back in this little guy and get this thing on the track. So who else was watching 6 Hour at the Glen today? I watched a bit. We went to church this morning and then came home, and I just been hanging out. I was going to go out and do a little bit in the garden, but oh man, it's just so hot and humid and awful today. And just wanted to relax because I got to go back to work tomorrow, like most people in the world. And I have no idea what I'm doing this week. Don't have another baseball game until Friday, so that's kind of cool. Get a little break from baseball for a couple days, which is welcome. DTMs are all in line. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Chuck. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of you already probably have this car. If you don't, I think you need to get it, honestly. This is definitely, and I meant to bring in the Shadow is back in my office. I did mean to bring in the Shadow as well from MR Slot Car. I really think these two cars are certainly the most notable cars for like car of the year kind of thing. Hey, John. I definitely think that, like I said, uh, there are a few more iconic cars than the Chaparral. Same thing for the Shadow. And Harry Wise has been talking about this too. I mean, Harry brought this up about he feels that these are definitely two cars that are definitely up for car of the year. Um, I really think so as well. And I mean, if you're not really into either of these cars, I can get that maybe you really wouldn't care. But I mean, from the point of view of the cars being really important real cars, and I mean important slot cars. I mean, a Chaparral has pretty much always been a slot car since there were slot cars. Same thing for the Shadow, quite honestly. So, holy man, this thing is quiet. You can barely even hear this thing move. Wow. Um, this thing is supremely quiet. Slotted have done this so recently. I mean, the 512, the first 512M, just insanely quiet and smooth. And this thing, I mean, I opened up the body, as you saw. The body screws are a little loose, but I didn't do any real tuning to the car. The pod is a little loose. Sadly, though, the screws, they're catching. So what I'm gonna do is put the screws. I had taken out the rear screws, and I had just kind of had, I don't know who the heck keeps calling me, but calling me on a Sunday and not leaving a message. Who calls people and doesn't leave a message? I mean, what are you, a communist? What are you, heathen? It's awful. Don't call somebody and not leave a message if you're going to call them. It's rude. Anyway, maybe it's my own personal hang up. It's entirely likely it's my own personal hang up, by the way. Let's get this pod. Okay, these screws really don't allow much float, even though there is, I mean, there's a lot of adjustment. There's a lot of thread out in this pod. I hate to think that it's getting jammed up, but I think it is. Yeah, I definitely think there's something going on with the pod here. That's unfortunate. Let's tighten this back up, just loosen it back up the same amount. Yeah, I don't know. It is incredibly quiet, though. Really wasn't expecting that. not to be this quiet. And boy, howdy, does it stick. And these are the stock tires, guys. Stock tires. And stock wheels with the plastic wheels. Right around the corner. Right around the corner. No drama. No slide or very little slide. It's worth every bit. It's worth every bit. Every single tiny piece of your of your money. Pro Magnet Coalition. Hey man, if you like magnets, John, you go right ahead, brother. I am not going to tell you can't like them. Who am I to tell you can't like something? I like cheap beer. A lot of people hate cheap beer. I like it. I'm never going to tell you can't like something you like. John has a hell of a board, by the way. The Trans Am slot car board, and yeah, you should all join it. He does a good job with that board. It really is awesome. There are a lot of really good message boards out there, especially on Facebook. Not Harry's board, and Slot Car Fun, and 132 Enthusiasts, and Sweet Price. What Sweet Price? This? It's no cock Chaparral. It would run circles around. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, no problem, John. Yeah, there's a lot. There's so many good boards out there for people that are just doing it out of the sake of, loving the hobby, not to try to promote themselves or anything like that. I mean, it's a hard line to walk when you're a YouTuber and you want to, you want to promote yourself and things like that. But you got to really be careful of how people interpret, you posting your links and stuff like that. It's a process, just like everything. Okay, we got a little bit of movement here. Let me dial this back out a little bit. So okay, we got a little bit of flexi here now. Yeah, so, this probably the front axle probably needs to be adjusted because there's a little bit of twistage. It just got even quieter. This thing is silent. It is absolutely silent. Again, 9 volts, no magnet, stock tires. Doesn't get any better, guys. Why would I say that? Well, it doesn't have a lot of power going to it, and yet it's every bit as fast as you need it to be in all the corners. It doesn't have a magnet, and yet it sticks to the track just fine. It's got stock tires, and yet it sticks to the track just fine. It's the right mix of right out of the box. You don't have to do anything to it. There's no additional purchase to enjoy it the way you want it. There's no it just works. You don't have to feel bad about spending. I mean, this is what, a $65 car, $69 car now. And yet it's a good, honest car. It's just there for you. You put it on the track, you leave the magnet in, you go. You take the magnet out, you put it on the track, you go. It's beautiful. How can you complain about this? You can't. I do think that this is a serious contender for slot car of the year for me personally. I'm not a huge fan of the Chaparral as a real car brand. However, it's hard to ignore that, like I had said at the beginning of the stream, that the Chaparral is easily one of the most iconic car brands, car types. And I think it's the shoes. Hey, I'm just wearing normal Under Armours today, guys. Nothing weird here, just black and white. Um, so yeah, I do think this car is extremely important, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think does it really matter if there's like, I don't know. It's hard to judge a slot car of the year, and I mean, really, it doesn't matter what I think about the car. It matters what you think about the car, and if you think it's worth it. I can tell you that the car is a good car and that it's worth the money. If you're into buying slottits and other hobbyist end of cars, that's really the only thing that I think I add, or any other reviewer, quite frankly, adds, is their opinion about, whether it's the fastest car on my track is completely irrelevant. That's most of the time why I don't do timing, because it doesn't really matter how fast it is on my track. It matters whether you like the car or not. And if there are some glaring problems or issues or squirrely stuff with the car, this car is basically what you see is what you get. You get a really high quality, performance oriented, great model of a car. It ticks basically every box. It unticks the box if you don't like Chaparrals. That's the only reason not to get this car. Would be absolutely worth the money, in my opinion, because you're not going to have to do anything to this car to enjoy it. You're not going to have to, well, like I said before, change the tires, or, if you race on a Apollo car track, you're not going to be lacking for grip. Maybe if on Skelectric track you would, then you would change them to the tires of your choice. But I really do think that you have basically a good, honest car here. I mean, John Albright does a lot of nice track tests on cars, and there's a lot of info out there already about this car. I got mine a little later because I got mine from LEB. That's how I get the samples of the slotted and Apollo car stuff these days. And I mean, it's a can't miss car that Slotted have done, and it's certainly a car. If you were going to collect a car, if you were going to do slot car collecting, and you're serious about it, this is definitely a car that you want to pick up. Probably it will appreciate in value, and yeah. They will be doing, Slotted will be doing, what did I say? The 2G, I get my letters mixed up with these. I believe it's the open top one with the little snorkels on the back. They will be doing that car as well next year. I did get a little bit of Slotted news as well. The wing is a lot sturdier than people think. Exactly, John Albright. Exactly. I did get a little bit of Slotted news. I don't know that Mauricio told me that I couldn't say this, so I'm gonna say it. But regardless, I don't think it's a huge deal if I do. We didn't get any more new Nissans this year, any more Skylines this year. Like later, we got the Calsonic one, and we did get a couple, but not the modern one, not the Skyline. Wherefore art thou, Skyline? Oh my God, how do I not have my? Jeez, I'm falling down the job. The modern Skyline, guys. He's going to be redoing the. I believe there was some kind of problem in the design with the chassis and the body, where the something made contact and he wasn't terribly happy with the design. So he's going to be redoing the mold, before they release another one, and I believe that there's going to be another one then next year. Um, I'm really happy about that. I really like that Skyline. I know John Albright has one of those, and well, frankly, a lot of folks do, not just John. They were a really killer cool car, and I'm happy to have more of those. I really do like the Skylines uh, that they've done, and I really hope that they continue. Japanese cars are something that really untapped, and I think the time is right for a lot more people to add in more. I mean, I've talked about this a lot, but there definitely definitely the need for some more Japanese cars in the market, folks. Okay, open. I don't know what it's open, guys. Here he is. Here's the little old man talking about toy cars. By the way, from the Department of Self Promotion and Commerce. If you like the stream and you feel like sending a tip my way, you can for as little as $5 one time or $5 a month ongoing. You can subscribe, and that adds just a little bit more inspiration for me to keep doing more content. I do this content as well as having a full-time job and having jobs consulting for Slot at Polycar and LEB and other folks as well that call me a lot looking for advice. So I really appreciate any tips that anyone feels like providing. Gotham, I believe his name is Ken, just sent me $25 yesterday. And thank you very much. If you're in the chat, I really appreciate it. So the Slot at Chaparral, they one of the things that I can also add from a conversation that Maurizio and I had about the Chaparral, it's no small feat for him to get Chaparrals done, because at his company, he's one of a number of people in the company that have a voice with what cars get made. It's not just his company, right? There's a number of people there. So when he does a Chaparral, you know, it's only really going to sell in the US and Canada, guys. So it's not really a car that people know overseas. Yes, it may have run overseas. Yes, people now know, they have the internet now and they know what cars are, yada, yada, yada. However, doing cars like, for example, the Sucker car, which is absolutely one of his favorite cars, Maurizio, that is, Maurizio Ferrari. There's no guarantee that we're going to get more of definitely American kind of slot car from Slot It, because it's a sell. He has to really push that they make this car, and frankly, it's not really going to sell outside of the US. So it's a hard thing, I think, for him to make the argument, because this is going to be a much more limited run car. I think, I don't know for sure, and a much more limited scope car. I know that for sure. So I'm happy that he's done these cars. I'm happy that he continues to pay attention to the U.S. market, because I mean, let's face it, he doesn't necessarily need to, but he does, and that's fantastic, and I'm very happy about that. And he's giving us some really great, very specific cars for essentially just this market. And I mean, I'm really grateful of that, and I think probably a lot of folks in the chat are as well. Other slotted news, we can talk about this now. No, how should I start this out? So certain dealers in North America will have the new Villeneuve 126, 129, the new Ferrari, the new Villeneuve Ferrari. the boxed one. There is a licensing issue with Ferrari that had prevented some dealers here in the US from stocking that car, because where licensing details are taken into account, yes, Christopher, exactly. So licensing laws in the US are much different than they are in Europe. And a lot of this is fairly settled law here in the US. So if someone here wanted to order a Ferrari that is not made by Carrera, it's technically not licensed by Ferrari. And you take a chance if you're importing something that is technically unlicensed. You take that chance at customs, where if you don't have the proper paperwork, things will be seized and destroyed. Actually crushed. Not things don't get sent back because that adds in more cost. So things will just be destroyed by customs. And you don't really get much of a say in that. If things get through customs and then products get through customs and then get into the market that then get for sale, they can also be taken off of shelves, taken off of websites, which is frankly what happened with the other 512s that were sent in, or the other Ferraris, recent ones from Slotted that were sent into the US. A lot of them were taken off the market. And yeah, that's probably all I'm going to say about that. But so you have to be careful if you're a retailer and you're bringing in any kind of thing that might be licensed, any kind of slot car that might be licensed. So I happened to see today that the Villeneuve car is on sale in Canada at Mini Grid Hobbies. They're in the Toronto area. I don't know how many of them they have for sale. I don't know if they only had that one. But there you go, for sale in Canada. I assume, I probably shouldn't assume this, but probably MR Slot Car will have that as well in his store in the Toronto area as well. And yeah, there you go. So that's the shortest, most kind of, I don't want to say cleaned up, but I've kind of been asked not to talk too much about it. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that is difficult to understand, especially for me and for folks, out there as well, that don't do this, that don't handle this kind of thing regularly. I am not an expert. I've had a lot of discussions about this kind of thing, about licensing, over the time that I've been in slot cars, even until today. Obviously, I'm not full-time anymore, but I still have these discussions with people. So, I know a little more than the average person, but not as much as someone that actually has a company and has to deal with all this nonsense. And it is nonsense, by the way. It's nonsense because it's so unfortunate that the big real car companies hinder toy car companies from making models of their cars to sell to kids or adults to play with. And you would think they would be falling out of their seat to offer their IP, their intellectual property, to various companies to make, but that just isn't how it is, guys. The companies have every right in the world to exert trademark over the shape of a car. The shape of a car is called a trade dress of a car, trade dress. Copyright refers to like logos and things like that, and words, but so it's not copyright the shape of a car, but it would be like the brand, because I'm doing that with Slot Car News now to dissuade other people, let's just say, who like to take some of my ideas and incorporate them their own, especially with words that I use in combination, like Slot Car News, which I am in the process of trademarking. Um, so, in any case, you make something up. If it looks good, people copy you. It's okay if you're Ferrari because you have all the money in the world. I'm just little old me, little old lumpy McMunchkin here in my basement doing my own thing. And it kind of hurts when people use something that you've built up over, I don't know, nearly 20 years now. Anyway, toy cars. They're fun. Yeah. Okay, so what else are we talking about here? We're talking about types of cars people will buy. Yes, Europeans won't buy American cars. American cars, real cars. That's been proven because, for a variety of reasons, they're too big, basically. Gas mileage is terrible. And anyway, but slot cars, slot cars, they won't buy them either. I would be at events in Germany and Spain and England too. I guess I never really saw American cars like on American slot cars brands on sale cheap, but um, like when I was in Germany, the '57 Chevys were on sale when I was there at Nuremberg, and they were on a bargain sale. They were like €20, €25 a piece just to sell them, to get them out. The Can-Am cars were. I'm talking about Carrera cars, Digital 132, Evolution, all of it. There was very few people. Try to do slot car news. Well, look, yeah, I don't want to get too far down into that, but it just anyway, let's not talk about that. Um, American cars, basically, American themed slot cars sell well in Canada, US, and Australia. They sell very well in Australia, generally speaking. However, in Europe, they're not going to sell at all, basically. Not the same as not to be said for, we have Mercedes here in the US, of course. They just don't have, really, they don't have a lot of American cars at all. Yes, they have like the occasional Mustang or two. It's extremely rare, though. It's not like it is here where, every guy that just about, actually, everyone that races at my club, nearly everyone, actually, more than half. That's not nearly everyone. Getting off into the wilderness here. More than half of the guys I raced with at my slot car club have a Mustang, a pretty new Mustang. It's just one of these things. It's just one of these things, It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just Europeans just don't want American types of cars. And then here, there's certain things that just absolutely do not sell. Rally, unfortunately. I've been to a couple rally races. There was one near me that I just shared on my, I shared on my my Facebook, my own Facebook page, talking about or I showed, it was Ken Block and who else? Travis Pastrana, and then a couple other cars that I hadn't frankly known. But it was really cool because this was from the Rally America, I think in like 2009. And I went up in the middle of the woods, and I'm driving around these muddy roads, and it was really awesome to see these cars just flying around. And I know rally would sell well here. I know rally would be an interesting thing for people to see here on TV, because Jesus, it is just scary. It's even like scary to see just on TV, right? Like, I mean, even in person, it's just phenomenally frightening to see folks um do this. Oh yeah, so Hoonicorn, Hoonican, Hoona whatevers. Hey Rel, cheers. Yes, DTM is big. DTM would be big here in the US too, actually, I think. In any case. I did hear from Area 71 they're having some difficulties with I think maybe the finish, they said. I don't have the email right in front of me, but um suffice to say the Area 71 Hoonicorn, now it's what I think there's 5 of them now. So that would be what a quintet of cars that they're doing in the Ken Block series. I think 5. Yeah, 5. Um, and I have every reason to believe that they're coming. They're a very small company, guys. So please, please be patient with them. I know it's, everyone wants their toys, right? Everyone wants their models. They're high end models. I mean, these are really not toys. These are, about as high end quality project as you can get. Certainly in our hobby, there is going to be no higher end complete project that you could get. So, we need to be careful about being negative, frankly, um, and I think they're working hard to get the. Sorry, guys. Um, sorry. They're working hard to get these cars done for sure. And I think that let's just please be patient. And they'll have them here available. They'll have them here. They'll have them available soon enough. And they're going to be very low run on the cars. So I think, if you want one, you definitely need to pre-order one. And in any case, they just did message me the other day with, because they showed me the 2 new, the photos of the 2 new cars that were uh, the hypercar and the, what is it, the 298, the GT car, and yeah, the red ones, the ones that they have done in just so you can see the body a little better. So those projects are coming soon. So they had emailed me those pictures, and then in there was a description, or an explanation, I should say, of just kind of what's going on. They're coming. Let's just be patient, guys. Oh, what's going on? Anyway, supercars, Christopher. They're not. So the Australian supercars would sell maybe here in the U.S. They are not sold in the U.S. by Skelectric because all of them are produced for just the Australian distributor. Okay. They are all special run cars just for the Australian distributor. A few, and I mean a few, stay in England, but very few, from what I understand. I don't know numbers. I don't know, frankly, anything. Hey, Mikey. Yes, tons of people here in the U.S. are running Revo slot. Tons of people here are running them. Tons of people here. They sell really, really well. So Aussie supercars, they won't pretty much ever be available in the U.S. because they're only really, they're a special run, basically only made for Australia, and that distributor wants to keep them special for Australia. It's not an unreasonable thing. And frankly, they pay for them all. So, you know, Skelectric want to sell all the run all the time so they can move them all out, make the profit. Of course, this is a business. This is not a charity. And they need to make the profit on the cars and keep them rolling. And that's what they're doing. So the Aussie supercars, it's not that they wouldn't necessarily be sold here, or that they wouldn't sell here if they were available. I will tell you something that IMSA is going to finish under yellow. That's what you think so, Dusty? That's unfortunate. I'm not watching it now, obviously, because I'm talking to you all. That sucks. Something that may rile people up a little bit. And if there's any Aussies out there, you can go ahead and just blame me right off the bat. Batteries are going down, but we're only going to be doing this for a little while longer. Okay. I just was reminded because of talking about Aussie supercars. You all know that there was an Australian supercar Mustang, right? You know why Skelectric didn't do the car? I told them not to do it. They were talking about doing the car, but for a variety of reasons. Other supercars to run with that car, if they did the Australian supercar Mustang, that car might have been for sale here in the US and Canada. However, other Aussie supercars wouldn't. That makes no sense. That body is only raced in Australia. Doesn't make a lot of sense to do it outside of Australia, especially if you put these two things together, and you have no car to run it with. I hate cars. I hate cars that have no running mate. Doing a puppet now. It's a puppet show. And they had already talked about the idea of doing the GT3 Mustang, which they do now. So that was the car that basically we all agreed it was not my decision. That's not how these things work. But I was probably the strongest, loudest voice to not make the Aussie supercar Mustang, because it's insulting basically to the US market if you only give it a Mustang that has no running mate, and it's not the Mustang that they actually see at all. So there we go. That's why. Yes, hit the like button, please. We have 97 people. Thank you all very much. If you all want to donate to the channel to help out, yes, there are plenty. DK, there are definitely plenty of US Mustang fans. However, the modern Mustangs have not sold very well for Skelectric, I believe. They didn't sell well for us when we did them at Carrera. I know. I don't know how the new GTY cars sell for Carrera. I think they probably sell okay. But the vintage Mustangs, certainly the Trans Am Mustangs, the Group B B production car, like the Shelby Mustangs, sold extremely well. The Fox Body Mustang Moondoggie was one of the cars that I tried to get SCX to make. No dice. Tried to get Carrera to make. No dice. Tried to get Skelectric to make. Hopefully dice. There was a one or two that ran in DTM in the 80s. There were obviously the Saleen cars that ran, but those are unfortunately a different body. During that time, like the tube frame Roush Mustangs, the IMSA cars, that's your best bet. I think Pioneer had talked about doing those cars years ago. It would be, I pitched doing that car to NSR. I pitched doing that car to the tube frames to slot it. I pitched, basically anybody that freaking listened to me. doing the tube frame IMSA years of Mustang, the Realtree car, the Folgers car, the 7-Eleven cars. There was a couple other ones. There was a bunch of really great. There wasn't just about enough, right, to make. It was like 5 or 6 real liveries. Plus, you could make bodies in color and a white kit. And I'm hoping that at some point a Fox body Mustang is made. Darren Kurd asks, talking about U.S. cars, would you expect someone to be inspired by the Garage 56, you mean Camaro, from Le Mans? Jesus, I hope not, because the Camaro is not going to be made after next year. How the hell people don't realize this or remember this, I don't know. Why they would race the damn car there, I don't know. It's not a NASCAR. Parts of it may have started life as a NASCAR. None of the bodywork is. I believe the engine may have started as one, but sure as shit isn't when it was over there. I mean, definitely the bodywork. For God's sake, there's no real bodywork on any of those cars at NASCAR. And you look at, there's aero everywhere on the damn Garage 56 car. A one-off Camaro makes no sense for anybody to make ever. Don't do it. Except Area 71. Area 71, the 3D printing people, do that car. So, Darren, people want to say that it was run by NASCAR, right? It was started by NASCAR. It had one former NASCAR driver in it. It was marketed by NASCAR. It didn't run against anything. Yes, it was fast. Yes, it was a big V8, and it impressed everyone. You're welcome for the eargasm at Le Mans. It's a great sound. A big V8 sounds amazing, just like a screaming Ferrari engine does. But I know NASCAR was trying. They could try a little damn harder. They had all the money in the world before they crapped the bed about being just regional racing. The problem is it's not. It was marketed as a NASCAR. It's not a NASCAR. And then after this year, and now next year is the last year of the Camaro. It's not gonna be made anymore. Why promote something that's dead? It's not gonna be. Yeah, well, John, it had a big engine. It had a light body. Why wouldn't it run well? Why wouldn't it? I mean, V8s are big American V8s are known to be durable. They're known to be reliable. That's why Corvette racing raced itself for a million years, and GT1 winning races. And anyway, everybody dumps on NASCAR. Well, I mean, NASCAR kind of deserves it. NASCAR has driven out most of any kind of other racing in the U.S. Look, I love going to NASCAR races. I don't go because it's expensive and I don't like the formats, and just race the damn car. It had no rules to conform to, adhere to. Yes, I'm aware. It was just a experimental garage, whatever. Yes, and that's why it did well. I mean, it was an exhibition. Basically, it was 24 hours of test. And look, it's fine, you know. And NASCAR is a fine form of racing. You get too. They've gotten too bogged down. Boy, I didn't think I'd get off on this tangent, but I guess why not? Just run the damn races. Just run the races. Stop with all this segments and nonsense. And if you got someone running away with the races, great. Whatever, that's racing. They spend more money. Racing racing is expensive. How fast do you want to go? You know, that's the problem with racing is the people who win races win all the races, win most of the races. And then because of that, they have most of the money. And because of that, they win most of the races. And because of that, they have most of the money. Yes, it's freaking boring. No, don't start on the rainbow checkered flag nonsense. I'm not doing that here. We're not doing any of that nonsense here. It's just, I don't know. I don't dislike stock cars. I love stock cars. It just, I don't know. It just made more sense to me when they were a little more like real cars that you could get, but you can't really do that anymore. So anyway, yeah, cookie cutter rule. Exactly. Cookie cutter rules. It's cookie cutter rules, frankly, because the more you do cookie cutter, the more you try to do balance of performance or whatever you call it. I mean, BOP is a little better because you really can balance out a car a little better than just making them only a spec car, because Christ, is that boring. Spec series are just so freaking boring. I have no interest in any spec series whatsoever. And frankly, I don't think anybody does, because the spec series viewerships all go down. Ironman Baja, absolutely. I love all that kind of endurance racing, all that kind of craziness. That's Dakar racing. I watch all that I can find, quite frankly, and all the, I mean, the rally stuff is really, frankly, is some of the most enjoyable stuff, because it is just madcap fun. Let's be honest, guys. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, it really is what you want to watch. I shouldn't be, I don't really mean to be a jerk about stuff. I have an opinion about, look, if you want to watch it, I mean, please watch it. Please don't stop, because people need to watch racing. That I'm all for. I'm all for that, guys. Oh, what's going on here? Someone wants to send me a message. Oh, guys, you can send me a message in the chat, guys. IROC. Yes, IROC was fun when it was like people would just get into a car and race. Absolutely. Yeah, when IROC was a thing. The Camaros and the Porsches before that, and I didn't really, I mean, I kind of liked the Chrysler Daytonas. That body was it was kind of an interesting body that they raced. The really last versions of the IROC series was really a lot of fun to watch. And thank you, everybody, for 80. Oh, it was the water. 89 people staying through that ridiculous rant where I offended probably a number of people. If you like that form of racing, you watch that form of racing. I'm all for that, believe me. Whatever that form of racing is. So the slot at Chaparral, to get back to the beginning, to get back to our roots. Drivable, fast, quiet, nice model. Available right now. Buy it, please. Yeah, Dean. Yeah, I mean, anyway, I'm kind of done with that topic. The Chaparral is a really nice model. It's a really important car if you're into, if you're into car history and slot car history. Probably a lot of you are, because, most of you all are committed. On sale at Slot Car Corner. There you go. It's on sale at LEB, I believe, as well. It was definitely an important real car. It was definitely an important slot car. I'm all about getting the models of the cars that were important real cars, as well as, and especially as slot cars. Like this ranks right up there with the Cheetah. This ranks right up there with the Shadow. This is like the Porsche 959s, the 961s, the 962s, the 956s. I mean, one of the most iconic cars of all time. And it's really a can't miss for your collection. It's a can't miss if you're thinking about adding to your collection and you're new in the hobby. This is a car that is worth the money. one of the things I said at the beginning is I don't really feel the need to do timing on my track, because my track is going to be different from your track. Uh, what I can say is, out of the box, if a car is an easy car to tune, easy car to put on the track and get to handle well, easy car to get to kind of get to that level of enjoyment where it feels good, it's easy to control, you have a pleasurable experience when you're driving the car. There's nothing right out of the box that you have to tune or fix or replace, God forbid. So it's important. What I feel I can add is kind of the unofficial thumbs up. If it's worth it, that baseline of if it's worth it. Yes, these are not cheap cars, so is it worth at least the 60 some dollars you're going to pay for it? Hell yes, it is. So that's probably the rating. It's a hell yes, buy this. If it was $100, probably even still, because it's just that nice a car to run. There you go. Just want to see if it's easy to offend everyone. Exactly. Especially the people that say, I'm going to be offensive and I'm going to offend, and I don't care if people get offended. Those people tend to get offended the most easily, but they don't admit it anyway. Yes, it's worth it. The slotted Chaparral. It's an amazing car. There will be, I did talk to Maurizio about some other recent cars that had gone in and out of stock very quickly. And they really don't, they're not going to redo cars. I think I'd asked them if they were going to remake or do another run of a car. I forget which car it was now, though. It was a fairly recent car, and he said, no, absolutely not. So it's not even, frankly, in the cards to redo cars, to do production runs. I've talked a lot about this, guys, and it's definitely something to pay attention to, is that once cars are made, that's it. You get one chance to buy a car, unless you buy it used, and then or on a secondary, like from a collector, a company that specializes in raising the price a lot and charging you collector prices on cars, unfortunately. So, this car is available now. There's no such thing as in production. The car gets sold from the distributor, from the manufacturer, probably to a distributor or direct to dealers, and then that's really it. So, if you really do like these cars, when they do become available, you really need to buy the cars. I hate to kind of be that blunt about it, but that's honestly how these things go. One last time, buy now or cry later. Hey, scalpers. Yeah, I mean, people can buy cars and sell them. That's up to them. They can buy them and sell them at a higher price. It's up to them. I don't really love the idea of the collector market, because it prices people out of, iconic cars, especially, like if you get into the hobby now and there's a car that you see from 2 years ago, it's going to be really hard to find. And you're going to probably pay a lot more for it. Excuse me. That's kind of the unfortunate thing. Hey, Shotgun Dave. Cheers. Thanks for showing up. Everybody join Shotgun Dave's Facebook as well. He does some really awesome stuff. John Helton has the Trans Am slot car board as well on Facebook. He does some really awesome stuff. Dave's stuff on Shotgun Dave's Slot Car Customs on Facebook. He specializes in hand done custom cars with some truly amazing, fun decorations in the cars, and He does some really neat upholstery details, and it's really, really great stuff. Every single time I see Dave's stuff, I smile every single time. It's just a joy to see what Dave's come up with, and that's awesome. Um, there we are. Well, Dave, you make me blush. I mean, you made me blush by making this car from years ago, and we pay things forward around here if we can. Um, why I put up the link to the Buy Me a Coffee. If you feel so moved, and you don't need to, you can donate for as little as $5 one time. Just gives me a little more inspiration to maybe get up off my derriere, make some more slot car videos, and have a good time. If you wanted to, you can subscribe for as little as $5 a month as like an ongoing subscription. I have a few people that do that. I really appreciate that. That means the world to me. It really, really does, folks. Thank you all very much. Thank you to the 90 some of you that were around for quite a bit of the stream. Thank you to the 68 of you that gave the stream a thumbs up. That really means quite a bit. It is definitely appreciated, because every single like, every single thumbs up honestly helps the stream grow, the channel grow, just like every viewer does. But the comments below, the thumbs ups absolutely help in the aggregate. See you all again, folks, and probably have another video or two this week. Cheers.